everyone. This is the Diamond Chronicles, true tales of trade, trust, and betrayal in the world's second oldest industry. My name is Judy Lee, and I have across from me
Colin David Ferguson.
So
Did
nice
you forget
to see
there?
you,
There seemed to
Colin.
be too long a break.
Anyways,
Here we go again. We're back for episode 9.
crazy.
Crazy. Seems like we only started this yesterday, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we want to thank everybody for the cards and the letters. And this is only our second time doing this today because Judy messed up the sound on the first one. But we only get better as we go along, correct, Juju? What's happening over there?
Nothing.
So today, did we decide yet exactly? Because we used to make decisions together, but Judy makes them all now.
I call all the shots.
Right, because
Okay.
she does the editing and the sound and
Which,
all those
guys,
things.
putting in so many hours into doing these things is a lot.
It's called a job, Judy, and it's kind of,
So this week,
So let's talk about, can we do a little bit of updating on the date scene before we get too far into the...
There are no
these are the
updates.
things I'm interested in. As you all know, if you've seen Judy, she's very beautiful. It's to go out in public with her and anything else is kind of awkward. Not for me or for her, but for any other guys around. They seem to lose the ability to speak. They gawk. I tell people that I am her... guys will stare at her and get up on her, and I tell people that I'm her father.
Okay.
Okay.
That could have gone so many ways there.
Well, her big concern is that people think I'm her sugar daddy, and so we've decided it's in her own best interest to get a lanyard she wears around her neck.
Oh my gosh.
But it's true stuff. So what's happening in the dating scene? I know we've kind of picked up a stalker this week in your world.
That's the highlight of my week, honestly.
Well, I have the namesake of my father I'm more concerned about. And we're not going to use names here, but there is somewhat of a, would you call it a list, a lineup of boys who are...
A roster.
A roster. There you go, a roster. Lucky guys, huh?
Unlucky, actually. Anyways.
Well, I don't think any of them are unlucky. Anybody to have you in their lives, I think, as a man, is a pretty fortunate guy, now that I've known you for a while. So this week...
Let's talk about what we did the other day. We shipped.
Well, really, you shipped. I didn't really do that much.
You were there for moral support, which
That's
I really
very
need a
humble
lot of
of
the
you,
time.
but we shipped our first diamond to China since COVID.
Post-COVID.
And when we talk about China, we're not talking about Hong Kong here, okay? Like, Hong Kong is not China.
Okay,
I
what do you
guess
mean by that?
Well, look.
For those who have never gone.
People talk about going to China. Mainland China is distinctly different from Hong Kong. Hong Kong, for 100 years, as you know, was owned by England, right? The United Kingdom owned it, and it's reverted back now, but it's still the place where, everybody wants to do business.
Right.
But doing business in mainland China is a different ballgame altogether. The cultures, the norms, the environment, everything is much different. The language, Cantonese was an acceptable language in Hong Kong.
It's a dying language now. It's not as spoken for as Mandarin.
Well, it's interesting because, Mandarin is the language of China.
Right.
And ever since the Chinese government, we've seen the riots. We had the riots just pre-COVID. And there's been so much go on in the world and on in China. We didn't even think about talking about. We've had the 2 Canadians detained in China over that whole affair with the... we were in the middle of that, of course, being here in Vancouver. And so that slowed business down for us with China. And then we also had the riots when they didn't want to make the changes. That, look, China's making the changes. One of the places that I stood when I was in Beijing was Tiananmen Square. And you don't have to look far in our history books to know what happened there. The Chinese government is not interested in conversations or anything forming any sort of democratic form of rule. They make decisions and they go with them, and you have to be respectful of that. It's interesting as we talk about being a global diamond broker in the different paradigms. I mean, China from Hong Kong is a different paradigm. They'll be the same soon, but that's not the case yet. So,
what was your experience like going to China? Where in China did you go?
I went to some of the big centers,
Right.
of course, Shanghai and Beijing. So from where we are, from YVR, to hop on the plane and fly there is an 11-hour flight, and you're sitting in downtown Beijing.
What's the security like once you get to the airports there? Is it any different than YVR?
What a good question. It's so different. The whole environment's different because, according to the Chinese government, there is no crime in China, because if you commit a crime in China, you disappear. Well, not snuffed out altogether. Judy just made the mark across the throat, and Judy's half Chinese, so she may know more about this than I do.
Chinese are intense,
right? But no, there's so let me give you. I was going to talk a second ago about some paradigms of travel for a global diamond broker, and so what I did. Let's talk about the difference between two Asian countries. Let's talk about China, and let's talk about Singapore.
Sure.
Okay, and the difference in those two countries, and,
Sure.
and what it's like to travel with literally, you guys, millions of dollars worth of diamonds in my pocket.
Now, how did you do that?
So first of all, I didn't talk about it on podcasts.
Right.
I didn't give out dates of when I was traveling, although this sort of thing still goes on in the industry. But the world's changed a lot, and it's changed a lot in a very few short, almost months, it seems like, but it's since COVID.
Yeah.
Because when COVID came along, we had to keep shipping and moving things, and things kept shipping and things kept moving. At that point, through COVID, we never stopped doing business with India. Now, understand, India is a country we also do a great deal of importing and exporting to, depending on what the product is. And, this is also a reflection on who we are and what we do. Like, when people ever talk to me about the price of the diamond, no one has the access we do. We buy them directly from the mines. We buy them directly from the cutters, right? Or acquire them, I guess, is a better choice of words. And we distribute directly. We don't have all the overheads of retail. And, I always say we sell to the guys who sell to the guys who sell to the stores. If you want to
Right.
understand what the difference is, of course, when you do business with us, we go into more detail. But flying to Singapore is extremely civilized. Singapore is the richest country in the world. It is now what I would refer to, and people more my age would refer to, as the new Switzerland. It used to be Switzerland that did all the money banking and the money holding and the money hiding and the money. Now that's Singapore. Singapore has more head offices of banks in that country than any other country in the world.
Wow, I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
a real center for finance. And so when you get there, it's, you fly into the most beautiful, rated the most beautiful airport in the world. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
stunning. Google the Singapore airport. And security is absolutely meticulous through the entire place. And, when I walked in there, I had $5 million worth of diamonds literally in my pocket. I mean, believe it or not, once you get here, I would meet security at airport security here in Vancouver. Once you're inside airport security, you're as secure as you can pretty well
Right.
be anywhere in the world. And so I would go in, I would meet whoever it was, the secure company that would deliver the stones to me, and I would travel with them in my pocket on something from Canada called a Carnet report, which is a document that allows me to bring them in and bring them back out, unless I document sales and that sort of thing.
So you have to declare it, or you don't?
Absolutely, you have to declare it.
Okay.
right?
Otherwise, if they find you with millions of
Yeah,
dollars
you don't want
of
to be
diamonds,
giving away
that
to
would
the
not-
Singaporean government
Yeah.
$5 million US
Right.
or the Canadian. So it's all above board. It's just how it's done, and
Okay.
it's safe and secure. to a certain, as safe as security.
Like, was it on your person? Like, it was
in my pocket?
like literally in your pocket?
Literally in my pocket.
Oh my God.
So $5 million US fits easily. This is one of the reasons they refer to these things as stealth wealth, right? And so I would get into Singapore, and the security company, the Israeli security company, is who we worked with, Malka Amet. We're the best in the world, right? Amazing company. They're, I refer to them as Brinks on steroids. And they would go with me everywhere in Singapore. And so they would carry the goods. I never carry goods. You never carry goods. By the way, the goods are what we call the diamonds backstage. These images of guys like me carrying briefcases, that's strictly the movie stuff. We're not that stupid. Okay? So these guys would move the goods around for us, and we'd show up like they traveled with us. And, I'd stand in these presentations in Singapore, and there would be 4 security guards around me. And you wouldn't know they were security guards. They would look like guests or employees or something like that. But this is what this amazing Israeli security company does. And so that would be the experience in Singapore. Soft, comfy chair, private office. When I got there, they would inspect the goods with me. We'd have a cup of tea. It was really civilized stuff. Now that's the most beautiful airport in the world. Rate it. There's no question. I don't think it has any competition anywhere. It's got the waterworks in the middle of it. Google it. Have a look. It's fun to see. Now, we fly into Beijing, and it's a different ball game, okay? Because we're going into a part of the world where it's just so different. I mean, the Beijing airport, to me, when I first got there, I don't know if they even have air conditioning. I don't believe they do. It was a sweltering night, and so I pull in, and I have my briefcase full of diamonds. They're in my pocket. And we line up to go through. Sorry, Judy?
No, I was just laughing.
We line up to go through security, and there's all these people there, and I keep looking around. This is my first time. I've traveled there several times since. But I'm looking around for, like, the rooms where I can go and show these guys what I have, because I have to show it to customs. They have to approve my entry and know that I have it and see it. And you can imagine these guys working on the borders, the last time they saw 10 million US in diamonds. As someone in the business, the number one thing you worry about is them calling a friend and saying, hey, this guy's, because they know everything about you. They know where you're staying, what you're doing, how you're getting there. So this was a different ball game. So when I got to the security, to the window, I went through the window, and then they directed me to the place where I had to show the diamonds. Now, when I was in grade school, they used to have these tables, these really bad plywood tables covered in some sort of varnish, where with the steel legs, where they probably made 1 million of them at a time to outfit every school in North America. And that's what I had. And I had all the people around me. And I said to them, I've got diamonds, I need a private room. And they said, well, we don't have private
Not today,
rooms.
sir.
No, thanks. Pull it out. Let's see. Yeah. And so the lineup of me and my passengers and passengers from other planes and people I'd never seen before and people walking by were kind of there looking at, it was at least $8 or $10 million worth of diamonds that I was bringing, again, on a carnet report into, it's funny, it goes both ways. So the diamonds, I can remember, as a broker, what we do is we eliminate middlemen both ways. So, we'll buy for example, the pink diamonds out of Australia, where I have invoices I can show you for a couple million US dollars. And we would buy those and then sell them into China ultimately, after they'd matured. And it's kind of an interesting racket that way. But remember, in a lot of these cases, diamonds are like real estate in your pocket. I mean, there's stones out there that we would move that were worth, millions of dollars. So it didn't take a whole lot in some situations,
right?
To make up that kind of money to be traveling with. So that's a day in the cross-border life of a global diamond broker. All these things now, this stone that we shipped this week, as you know, Judy, And I'm very grateful for all the work you did on this. Here's one of the changes since COVID. That very expensive, very rare diamond we shipped to mainland China. We shipped FedEx.
Yeah.
So all these problems, FedEx shows up at the bank vault. We don't need to walk anywhere or do anything anymore. They literally will now ship these things. And they showed up at our bank vault. They took the diamond. It was in a FedEx box. We use a third-party insurer. And Bob's your uncle. It's on its way to China.
Uncle.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the big changes. And I mean, this is since COVID. And that's our first. So I think that's worth mentioning. In China, well, when I was in northern China in a city called Dalian, someone mistaked me. I was wearing in those days polo collared shirts.
Okay.
And this isn't even that long ago.
Yeah.
And it was a part of China where nobody spoke English, okay? So I would stay in hotels. English spoken, you travel to Europe, everybody speaks English.
Right.
You travel to Singapore, Southeast Asia.
Or at least enough to get by.
At least enough to get by. So this is parts of China where nobody speaks English.
That's kind of scary.
When you're in the nicest luxury hotel, you go downstairs with your menu to order food and point at the pictures. Okay, because no one can understand a word. No one speaks English. Pure and simple. Right? And so that was a real eye-opener for me.
Culture shock. For sure.
Who's that actor that was in Blood Diamonds, the movie?
Leonardo
DiCaprio.
Oh, stop.
Shut up. Okay? So I'm sitting with my buddy.
No.
He's a very wealthy guy, known in this part of the world. And the girls were sure. I had my hair greased back. I had my polo shirt. It was navy blue. And the girls who worked in this restaurant we were in were all kind of giddy over in the corner.
Like giggling.
And I swear to God, okay, they thought I was Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm speechless.
It's one of my finest moments, okay? Don't take it away from me.
Wait, please tell me you played the part.
No.
Oh
They said, look, are you...
You would have gotten like free...
They walked up to the table and someone came up and said, Leonardo? And I said...
Yes, DiCaprio.
Yes, I'm Leonardo. No,
oh
not
my
really,
God.
But, yeah,
that's
fun
so
story.
Funny.
But, other things I did, I had blowfish and lived.
So,
Right?
I'm sorry?
You know about blowfish, don't you? Sushi? Like the best food
yes, I hear that.
I've ever had in my life,
Was in
I
China.
had in China.
Yeah. The Chinese have the best food, honestly.
The best everything, the best
Yeah.
service. They're the loveliest people. It was so lovely.
Yeah.
The country is so wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. The Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China, for me, changed my entire life. It was funny. Before then, I used to think of the Great Wall of China as a wall, and I'm sure everybody else does. But the Great Wall of China is not a wall. The Great Wall of China is this. For those of you who have seen the Rocky Mountains in Canada or the United States, the mountains the Great Wall of China is built on is very, very similar. They're huge mountains. And, let me give you a couple of statistics or facts about it that people don't realize. First of all, on top of the wall, now I saw the wall just outside of Beijing and stood on the wall, and every time I think about it, I kind of get goosebumps. I've been getting goosebumps a lot lately, telling these stories. Yeah. But seriously, I stood on the wall, and do you know that 11 soldiers can walk along the wall side by side?
Crazy.
And there's actually a railing, I guess you'd call, on either side. The wall was built to stop the Mongols from coming into Hong Kong, or into China, pardon me. So 5 men on horses, warriors, army people, whatever you want to call them, could ride their horses side by side. I'm going to say less than a kilometer, there's a barracks built into the Great Wall. What it really is, where the guards could sleep, is it's a fortress, is what it is. And, you take a country like Canada. Are we the biggest country in the world? Or number 2? Is Russia bigger? I'm not really sure.
I think Russia's bigger. I think we're number 2.
Anyway, Canada is 11,000 kilometers long.
Right.
The Great Wall of China is 22,000 kilometers long. It is built one rock at a time, like literally.
Like someone had to go and put these rocks down.
And look, it was finished 500 years ago.
Wow.
It was finished 500 years ago.
I can't wrap my head around that.
It's impossible to. How can you imagine that sort of thing? But, I share this because culturally, we're different culturally. And so to do business, it took us a lot to learn and understand the culture to be to the point where we are now, where, and they ship us the money before we ship the diamond.
I could not believe that.
Like, people can't believe that, but that's the credibility of the company as well. They ship us the money before we ship the diamond.
Before they've even seen the diamond.
They've seen it online.
But photos never do justice.
But yeah.
That's incredible.
That's the kind of company we are. And so, if you or your friends or anybody, can I do a side commercial here? If you or your friends or anybody are looking for the best deal on diamonds. You've got the voice for it. Hey? Contact us, for goodness sakes. There's no reason in the world for anybody to pay retail anymore on these things. We'll get to more reasons of that. But even wholesale. I mean, we sell to the guy who sells to the wholesaler. Yeah. Right? And I'm very proud of that. But yeah, them shipping the money first it's
so cool.
Is a very cool thing. Okay, so I guess, we're going to have a couple of these series in traveling around, right. And what it's truly like to be a global diamond broker. Yeah. If I was to pick a country in the world that's my favorite country, it was China.
Really?
I mean, I really had a wonderful time there. It's an amazing country. The countryside's amazing. The people are amazing, beautiful. There appears to be no crime. The nightlife is unblinking believable. It's so much fun. Yeah, you would love that, Jude. What are we calling you this week? Tuju?
Tuju.
Since we had to take 2 tries to get this done today?
Yeah.
We're down to only 2, though, if this one works.
There you go.
So yeah, that's sort of what goes on backstage when the diamonds move around. There was a time it was high risk. Now it's all FedEx. Now you meet the diamonds everywhere. And this is one of the benefits of COVID. I mean, one of the things I talk about all the time is adversity being opportunity. If the individual involved looks for the opportunity. So we're safe and secure. You want to order a diamond from us? We can have your diamond to you anywhere in the world the next day. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So that's, I think, what I got for today. I mean, that's you wanted sort of the travels of a global diamond broker. I got way more stories.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do a multi-part series to this because I know you've been everywhere.
Well, some of my favorite cities, and I'll just close with this. I mean, Vienna, Austria, and my night with some very wealthy investors there in the casinos. Trust me, it's not like the casinos here. Germany. Countries like Germany. I sent you a list today. Go ahead, give me some more. France, like all of these countries, all over the place doing business. London, another of my favorite city in the world, not country, is probably London, England.
Countries like Indonesia, Malaysia.
Standing in. One of the things when we talked about Singapore, and I'll cover this off, Singapore is a country. We live in Canada where to go from coast to coast in a plane takes 8 or 10 hours. Right? Yeah, well, to Toronto, if you go coast to coast. The other coast, by the way, is Newfoundland for us.
I understand.
Right? Labrador, that's still Canada, just so you know. So that's 8 to 10 hours. If you look at a country like Singapore, with all its wealth, with all its power, you can get in your cute little car, Judy, with the window broken out in the back, and drive across that country in 45 minutes.
That's
I would give talks on ownership of diamonds to jewelers and wholesalers and investors, and out one window in the Fairmont downtown Singapore would be Indonesia. and then out the other window would be Malaysia.
That is crazy.
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 Anyway, we're the Global Diamond Brokers. We have lots more stories, and we have a lot of answers. So if you want to know anything from diamond qualities, as you know, we're very outspoken on that and what's happening and what's happened in the industry. Pricing, we have all of that for you. Jewelry, you don't need to pay. You don't need
Exorbitant
to pay
pricing.
I mean, the industry, backstage, what's going on in the industry right now. My favorite one, and I'll close with this, is don't buy the misinformation. The article I read today by ABC News about diamonds having their own DNA and they can tell them all apart. OMFG. Donald Trump left us with one thing that we understand for sure. That's fake news, and there's lots of it in the world. Judy, you're the best.
You're the best.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go with that.
Please do follow us on our Instagram if you aren't already. We're putting a lot of work into it. It's at the Global Diamond Broker.
It's not that much work.
Okay, speak for yourself. Okay, Colin?
I find it quite easy. The only other thing is your feedback, your letters, your everything.
We
Please keep
appreciate
it
it
coming.
all, yeah.
Shoot us a text. If you got questions, we got answers. We're grateful to be here, and we're grateful to you.
Until next time, bye.